What's good, people? This is Sam O'Reilly from the Fight Talk podcast, joined as always by James from Round 8. Tonight we're delighted to have promoter, manager Steve Goodwin joining us. Steve, how's things?
Yeah, very good, thank you, very good.
Hello, Steve. Let's start on the current topic at the moment. Haye Bellew. Last night you was down there at the show. What's your overall thoughts on the whole card and the whole show?
I didn't think the card was great overall for pay-per-view. I thought the undercard was fairly poor. You've got the Derry Matthews and Paulie Malignaggi fight. You've got two veterans who were just at the end of the career. It was the final fight. And to be honest, you knew they were both getting beat. So I don't feel that the pay-per-view undercard was good enough, to be really honest. The main event provided obviously a lot of drama. I think what the main event showed was that, for me, that David Haye is not the fighter he was, irrelevant to the injury. Tony Bellew won the fight, but he did beat an injured David Haye, who was ahead on the judges' card until he got injured. So, I think both fighters made plenty of money out of it, which was great. But I think that's really the end of it. I mean, to me, it wasn't a fight that I would go, in years to come, I'll look back and think, what an unbelievable fight. And that's just me being honest. I mean, you ended up having David Haye on one leg, who was not the fighter he was, against Tony Bellew, who's not really a heavyweight.
Yeah, I think you summed up most people's opinions well. I say most people. James and I have disagreed on this one, which, I agree with you. David Haye didn't look, what we know and love, his style. He didn't look his former self. And I had him winning up until the injury. And I think he would have gone on to beat Bellew quite handily. He was getting into his own. James has a different perspective. What were your thoughts, James?
For me, I think Haye, he started off well. He come in there. I think Haye went in there injured. There's rumours on Wednesday he flew out to Germany to an Achilles specialist. For me, he was trying to go for the big knockout punch from the start, and tactically got it all wrong in my opinion. I had Bellew just ahead on the card up until Hayes was clearly, you could physically see he's injured. I think I read earlier, I don't know how true it is, I read that Bellew broke his right hand in the third round, potentially being the reason why he couldn't put him out. But again, at the same time, Bellew was gassed himself and he had no energy. Yeah,
he definitely did gas. The thing I wanted to ask you, Steve, now I don't know the protocol for this, but everyone seemed to kick up a fuss when David Haye's corner strapped up the ankle and strapped the foot and stuff. Now, if the man's got a ruptured Achilles, surely a little bit of tape, bandage, it's not really going to do a hell of a lot. I don't see... he was made to take it off the following round. Do you know the protocol on that, or your thoughts on it?
Well, my understanding is, and I've had this happen in a fight before, is that any strapping, any particular stuff that you're going to put on a boxer to protect them has to be approved by the doctors and both teams beforehand. So my understanding is you're not allowed to put additional strappings on in the middle of a fight.
Crazy. Yeah, I wasn't aware, and there was Coldwell and I think Eddie Hearn as well was saying it, and I didn't know the rules. I guess it could have been a foreign type of dodgy substance. But yeah, I just thought a little bit.
You just can't do that. You just cannot apply anything other than the particular substances for cuts that are allowed, and that you're not allowed to do anything else to a boxer to assist them. It's like if their shoulder gets put out and you strap the shoulder back in, you can't go and strap the shoulder to help them. You can't. You just can't. And if it's that bad, you're supposed to retire your boxer.
Yeah. Where does David Haye go from here?
I do agree with James. I think based on that performance, he's not the fighter that he was. But I actually got to be honest, just going for David Haye. And I like David Haye. I was his guest last night, so but I'm always very honest. And I felt in the second fight last year against Greg Jack or whatever his name was, I was with Josh. We were obviously all at the fight because we did the undercard.
Yeah.
And we turned around after that fight and we said, David Haye's gone. We felt that in the second, not in the Mark Demori fight, to be honest. I thought he looked okay in the Mark Demori fight. But in that second fight, if you together. He looked, and I thought the signs were there then. We thought he was shot then. Despite that, we still thought he'd probably beat Tony Bellew just because we didn't think David Haye needed to be at his best. But honestly, I think he should retire.
Yeah.
He's going to chase a rematch with Tony Bellew, obviously. You calling out Deontay Wilder is ludicrous. I don't think Deontay Wilder's the best heavyweight we've ever seen, but that's crazy. Honestly, I'd rather see David retire. I don't want to see him just tarnishing himself and going again and again. But, I guess the rematch is a possibility. But other than the rematch, I don't think David, what's he going to do? Rebuild again at 37?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thinking when he was calling for the rematch. I just, we know the recovery time on an Achilles is a long time, which puts him out for the rest of the year, doesn't it?
Correct. So he'd be 37. And honestly, do you think David Haye would go and be able to self-promote? Would he be able to actually promote himself and sell out the O2? No. Would he be able to promote himself and sell out the Copper Box or something like that? Possibly. Would he want to do that? I mean, that's what he's going to have to do. He's not going to sell the O2 out again, is he, on his own against some foreign
I know what you mean.
fighter. He's not going to sell that. He might be able to come back and make a fight with somebody who's decent and then sell something out. I mean, that's possible. But I'm not sure. Will the public buy into him again? I don't know.
Yeah.
The problem is it another case of, Roy Jones Jr. continuing too long? Is it now time to go, do you know what? Time to call it a day. He's got his Haymaker Ring Star Promotions thing lined up. He's a businessman outside of the ring. Is it time to say, do you know what? I'm done. Like I say, Roy Jones Jr. prime example.
Only David knows that. I mean, he's a very intelligent man. He knows his stuff, and we don't know if he went into the fight totally injured last night, then it may be that was. Then we're taking views on that, but I think it's difficult. I think it's a difficult one. My gut feeling is I would rather boxers retire too early rather than too late. Yeah,
he made enough money last night, and with the Ring Star, Haymaker Ring Star, about to kick off.
Hopefully that will be. I'm not. Again, you got to remember, and I'm just looking for where they're getting their TV contract from. That's what you got to question with that. So, without a big TV company behind them, it's not going to happen. So they've got to get that sorted out. So that that becomes an issue. So I don't know what the position is with that. But I think at the end of the day, David Haye, hopefully he's now got enough money to not have to do it again. But he seemed desperately chasing that rematch, and I thought this is a problem sometimes with boxers that are self-managed. His team has made a silly error. You should always put a rematch clause in, and they didn't. So, I mean, if I was managing him, the rematch clause would have automatically been in there. You have to assume. I always say to all my fighters, assume the worst. I've got to, as your manager, I've got to assume the worst scenario is going to happen and prepare accordingly. So they should have had a rematch clause in, and it's really bad business not to have done that.
Yeah,
definitely. You briefly mentioned, obviously, you did the undercard for David Haye's last fight. You've worked with, obviously, like David Haye. You've worked with. You've had a few fights on the undercard on ITV.
Yeah.
Bill, and other promoters. I mean, what's that like? Working with other promoters as such.
We also had 3 fighters on the Goodwin Wembley bill as well. The George Groves.
What's it
like? Different. Everybody's different. I mean, it's good for our fighters to get the opportunities. So, it's great to we work with anybody if it benefits our fighters. That's basically the bottom line. That's what my job is, isn't it? My job is to do whatever I can to get the best opportunities for our fighters, and we're grateful when we're able to work with so many promoters who have television deals. It's great.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see a lot of your young prospects, Dan Keenan, Dean Richardson. They were on the George Groves show. It's definitely like you say, it's a good platform for your fighters. So doing right by them and giving them that big arena experience at an early age can only be good for them as fighters as well, can't it?
Exactly, because at some point they are going to need to go into the bright lights and have big fights, and sometimes it's all good grounding for them to have been in the arenas before they have a major fight. And you just got to look at each fight. I mean, Jordan Dennis and Lucas Ballingall were both on the UITV undercard, and the Ubek Junior undercard. So, and plenty of others featured on the other show. So we've sort of given around about 15 of our fighters opportunities of fighting at arenas in the last 12 months, which has been great. And there's going to be more that get those opportunities going forward, we think. So it's great. Things are going well, and our fighters are getting good opportunities, which we try and make ourselves easy to work with, and I think people like working with us, so it's great.
Definitely. Now, I want to go back to on yourself and back to the beginning. How did Goodwin Promotions begin, Steve?
It began around 6 and a bit years ago. My daughter wanted to go into promoting. I had no interest in doing it, and it was done for her. It's sort of, I don't want to go through the whole story again because it's fairly well documented what happened, but I did it because I promised I'd do it, and I had no connection in boxing. I started up from nothing, and I did it for 6 months, and I absolutely hated it. I hated the sport. I hated a lot of the people in it. I'm being honest, I mean, basically, what basically happened in boxing, you've got different people. You've got people that are scumbags who just try and rob off everybody, the boxers and everybody else. And then you've got the really decent people. But unfortunately, when you're new into a sport, you often get the ones that nobody else wants to deal with come to you, and you don't realise they're bad to deal with. So I had some of that. And after 6 months of getting robbed, I got robbed and cheated and conned out of money. I wanted to, but I had to do it for a year until my daughter could stage her own show, because the board, because she was young, the board wanted me to do it for a year before she applied for a licence. So I did it. In the end, I did it for that year, and by that time my daughter could start off. But by the end of the year, I sort of looked at it and thought, I think I can make a difference here, because I don't feel people do things the right way in a lot of cases. So, and after a year, I thought, no, hold on a minute, we could make a difference. And obviously, then I set about working through to get my manager's licence, and that's where I thought I could make the biggest difference. And we did that, and we progressed through to get the manager's licence, and now we manage a substantial number of boxers with more knocking on the door every week. So, that's really where we do promote, and I think we promote good shows off TV. I think our shows are probably definitely in the south of England by a country mile, the best off TV shows you can get on by a mile. But I think in terms of the management of the fighters, that's where I add really, really good value. Hence, people like Frank Buglioni, Derek Chisora, and people like that have come to me to manage them. So, that's where we're starting. And I've just taken on another major fighter to manage, which will come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we're getting that aspect of it as well, which is managing fighters that are not going to fight on our shows, but they just need good management.
Yeah, I guess that helps the relationships as well, though. If they're not going to fight on your shows, but they're on bigger shows and TV and arena, and again, it's all good for the relationships, isn't it?
And then that helps the other boxers that we've got that are coming through underneath, because you build up relationships with these people for fighters, and then it gives opportunities for the other fighters to get on. So the whole thing becomes, it's like building an army. And when I started off managing, I thought I'd only manage 7 or 8. But I soon realised that the best way to create the best opportunities for your boxers is to build an army, and the bigger the army, the better the opportunities. And that's what we set out to do, and that's what we've done. So I've built up a really great backroom team. I've got Olivia, Kevin Campion, who does a brilliant job, and Josh, my son, works full-time in boxing. So we've built a full office team, just like Matchroom have got, that are able to look after and help with the boxers and the shows. So we really have put a lot of infrastructure in place, and we believe that that's the way forward to help to give our boxers the best possible service, management and opportunities. And we believe that with the team that we've got, we can deliver that and continue to do so, and in fact improve on it all the time.
Most definitely. You invited me down to your media day at your offices a couple of weeks ago, and it was a pleasure being there. And you see all your young boys coming through, and you've got the different guys, the different stories, and it's amazing to see the relationship you have with all these guys, and you're making a difference with a lot of these young fighters who may not have had the opportunity to turn over, and you can see the the relationship and how these guys feel about you. So you're definitely doing something right, Steve.
Well, I think and you notice when they come down, we have a closeness with all the boxers, but we're making them feel special as well. Sam, all of them that day, they left and they go, oh my God, I feel like a professional fighter, I feel amazing. I remember Nathan Weiss, who's been a professional for 12 years or whatever it is, said, I feel like Floyd Mayweather. That was the quote on the side. And I think it's amazing that you give them this, we do work hard behind the scenes, harder than anybody else with creating all the video graphics for them and the interviews and the promotion. We actually do promote and help them. And we keep in regular contact with them. We're always there for them all the time, and we have meetings with them. So I think we offer much more in terms of helping them with their career than anybody else, and we're also good at navigating them through to titles as well, which was great last year of how many titles we got for our fighters and how many more opportunities they've already got this year. So it's great.
Definitely. You mentioned a couple of names already there who you're managing, Steve. So Chisora and Frank Leone. In regards to Burgoyne, obviously, I want to talk about him a little bit in regards to him versus Summers.
Yeah.
He's picked up an injury. How severe is that injury? And obviously the Matchroom deal is now promoted by Matchroom as well as managed by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, what we did is, when the story behind Frank was that Frank came to me when he had left Frank Warren, and he was self-managing himself for a while, but he couldn't get... When he left Frank Warren, I think he thought that he'd automatically be wanted to be signed by lots and lots of promoters and offer them big deals. But being self-managed, it's very difficult to do that, to know what moves to play. He wasn't nominated for any title, so he came up to my office with Don Charles, and I said to him, look, I'll be delighted to manage you, this is what I'm going to do. And he sort of said, okay, right, great, fantastic, and we managed him, and within about 6 weeks he was mandatory for the British title. And I said to him at that point, we're not going to sign with anybody, we're going to remain free agents, this is the plan. Because as I say to boxers, we get the best deal when two people want you. If only one person wants you, we're not going to get a good deal. So you'll sign up and get yourself a really crappy deal. It's just what happens in boxing. You need to have two people wanting you. So I said, well, what we'll do is we'll get mandatory. Hosea Burton, he's beaten Hosea Burton in the amateurs. We had the fight originally scheduled, but Frank got cut in sparring. I'll tell you about that in a minute, why this kept happening. And the fight was put off, and then he took the fight, but he'd only actually had about a round of action in the year. So we went into that fight really with him. He was fit, but he wasn't as sharp as he would be with more rounds under his belt. But fortunately, the plan was always to get to Hosea Burton late, not as late as the 12th round, but he managed to do that. Once then won that British title, we've now got a commodity, and I'm not talking about boxers, but I'm talking about, because in fact Frank is a commodity, because he wants to sell himself to promoters to get paid as much money as he can, and that's my job. So we then have a valuable commodity in Frank Leone, the boxer, where everybody wanted to sign him. So we were then able to do a deal on the terms that we would want, rather than terms that other people would give us. So I was then able to get a really, really good deal with Eddie. It's a 3-fight deal, and we basically are able to work, and we have, we can veto our opponents, and we've got a really good deal with Eddie on that. And it's been a pleasure dealing with him, and we met everybody and decided that was the best for us. And he'll still fight Summers, and that will be made up. But we found that the reason he keeps getting cut in sparring, he's using this head guard where the stitching is loose, and it keeps causing the cut on the eye. So if a boxer lands a punch on a certain part of the head guard, the stitching rips into the eye, and it's happened twice. And now he's obviously realised what's gone on, and now we've got to change the head guard. That's what's happened.
Wow, I wasn't aware of that. It's crazy, isn't it? Just your tools have to be correct at all times.
Yeah, so he's had a faulty head guard, which has been causing the problems. But now what will happen is we think we'll be back end of May, beginning of June. We'll then we'll get on one of the Eddie cards, doesn't matter where it is. He'll do the defence against Summers. We'll then look to get another voluntary in, and then we'll either face a mandatory, or if we can move on to a bigger title, we'll do that. So that's really the plan of action with Frank. But he's delighted with what we've done, and as Frank says to me, he's never had a team this good with it in his life. So he's happy with his trainers, happy with me managing him. And we talk, and and we do it. And one of the things that I insist on, which others don't with my boxers, is if we're doing a meeting with a promoter, I take my boxers to the meeting, because I think it's really important to be transparent. So I think there are too many accusations in this world where deals are done and the boxers aren't present, and perhaps sometimes they're not told what the correct deal is, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
So what I do is, with my boxers, I do ask them to come to the meeting so that we discuss it all together, and then we go and have a debrief. So it's just something I do with the boxers, and they like it because they're totally involved 100% of the time.
Yeah, you won't get any of those Eubank situations.
Yeah, but I just don't see why if you've got nothing to hide, would you not take your boxer with you?
Yeah.
You're representing him. Why should he not be a party to the meetings and discussions?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange one. You're right. Why would they not have be present for it, and have all? They know everything, then, don't they? There's nothing can be hidden, nothing can be thrown back at them.
Yeah, because remember, I'm employed. You got to remember, I'm employed by the boxer to go and get him the best deal, and to give him the best advice, and to create the best opportunities. Why should he not be there at those meetings?
And Steve, last week on another Matchroom show with Eddie, you had Raheem Noble facing Tommy Coyle.
Yeah.
It was quite short notice. It's a late replacement.
It wasn't that short notice. The first thing correct. It looked short notice because Sky announced it the week before, but the deal had been done 4 weeks before, but we just weren't allowed to announce it. And at that time, Raheem was in a full training camp anyway. So for him, it was really weird. We knew the fight was done, but we just weren't allowed to announce it. So everybody keeps going on at short notice, but it wasn't actually short notice. He had perfect preparation. So we were offered the fight, and it was a fight that what we said was, and I told Raheem this: if you don't get chinned, you can win this fight. Our concern with Raheem has always been the same, that he leaves his chin too high in the air. But we felt that, obviously he wouldn't do that, and his trainers would do it. See, if you look at the fight, we took the fight, went to the fight. He won the first round. He was given the first round by the ref. He wobbled Tommy Coyle at the end of the first round. He won the first minute of the second round. Then started to go on the back foot, leaving his chin in the air, and he paid the price. It wasn't. I was still disappointed in people. I saw some tweets from some well-known people who put their fighters in crazy fights, and they get beaten up every single week, going, he was out of his depth. He wasn't out of his depth. He just technically, himself and his trainers have not resolved this problem. And I said to his trainers afterwards, and I said to Raheem the same thing: if you don't correct that, you're always going to get beat at that level. It's going to happen again and again. So what we're going to do now, go back, and I've got to see him fight at a lower level, and I need to see that he's correcting these technical issues, because if he's not, we're not going to put him forward for fights like this, because you can't fight people like Tommy Coyle and give him an open target. It's crazy. So, and what was annoying for me was that I thought he showed in the first round and a half that he was capable of doing well at that level. But unfortunately, you've got to not fight with your chin in the air.
Let's hope for Raheem's sake he corrects that and just uses this as a massive learning curve and comes back and corrects those small things.
And I know, and we're honest. I mean, Raheem will tell you the same thing. I said to him the same thing before the fight, and I said to his trainers, why, you need to do this. And I think Raheem believed his chin was granite-like, and he felt that he would get up from any knockdown. And I think maybe he was I think he believed that it didn't matter, and I think now he does. So I think that he needs to, as long as he can learn from this, I think he can come back a better fighter, without a doubt. So I think we can get up to that level. I think he'll win an English title if he corrects these problems and go on and fight for the British probably in a year or two. But that particular problem has to be resolved.
I find with some fighters, hopefully Raheem falls into his bracket as well. They learn a lot more from a loss than they do a win.
100%, and that's what we hope. But that's not down to him. I mean, we we got the opportunity for the Tommy Coyle fight because we were due to defend the Southern area, and I said to Hakeem, if we vacate the Southern area, I'm confident I'll get you a big fight against somebody like Coyle or Hibbert or somebody like that. And we were able to secure that. So it was always the plan. Because at the end of the day, when as a Southern area champion, you've beaten an undefeated fighter, defended it against Kay Prosper, who's considered to be a top prospect, you've got to go and take it. You know, you can't keep your fighters down at that level. You've got to go and say, well, okay then, let's move up a level. And that's what we did. But unfortunately, technical flaws proved his downfall. But he knows that now, because he's going to learn the hard way. He was gutted after the fight because he knew he could have done so much better if technically he'd got that sorted out.
And now you've got the next 2 weeks. You've got 2 shows in 2 weeks. Starting with Saturday coming, your knuckle to knuckle show. Again, you know, you've got. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're careful, mate. Now we've got Jordan Joseph fighting for the Southern area.
That's it, fighting Hobbs.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I think that could be a record historically, in that if Jordan wins, we would then be. I'll be then be the manager of the British champion, Frank Buglioni, the English champion, Joel McIntyre, and the Southern area champion, Jordan Joseph. So I'll be managing the 3 champions, which I think might be a record.
That's some feather in the cap, Steve. That one. Let's hope it works, eh?
Well, I think Jordan. I was at. Funny thing about Jordan, I was at his christening when he was a baby. I was at his christening because I've been friends with his family for 35 years. So he's a family friends and everything like that. So for me, it's going to be a very you know, it's going to be a really nice feeling if he manages to win it, considering he only had 8 amateur fights and this is his 8th professional fight. But I think he's only 21, but I think it's the right fight for him. So I've made that call. Let's hope I'm right.
Got some good boys in that. Good boys on that card as well. A lot of up and coming guys.
Yeah, for sure.
One of your guys, James.
Arfan Iqbal is a sensational fighter. If he can get himself together, I mean, he could easily be British champion level at light heavyweight. But at the moment he's fighting a cruiser, he's got to get the weight off. But he could be a sensation down the line next year. So next 12 months, he could be very, very, very good.
You got lads like got Ozzy Jervier's fighting again. He was exciting last time out. Adrian Martin, A.D. Burden.
Yeah. Well, the Ozzy Jervier, if I just say that the Ozzy Jervier Jose Lopez fight, semi-final of the Fight Cup, that's a cracking fight because Jose Lopez is potentially a very, very, very good fighter, but this is the first real test he's had with Ozzy Jervier. It's a great fight for both of the lads, and hopefully they'll both earn good money from the fight, and the winner will go on, and the loser can come back. But it's great. The actual fight is fantastic. It could be. I think it will actually be the best fight of the night. And then the other ones you mentioned, Adrian Martin's a lovely person to deal with. He's building up his career.
Great kid. Like him a lot.
Works so hard, doesn't he?
He does. He's a top boy.
Yeah, he is. And like A.D. Burden's having his 3rd fight, but he's got very limited experience. He's coming from no amateur experience, so we've got to, you know, he's working really hard at his game. And there's a lot of up-and-coming ones on the next fight next week. And then you've got the big show. The bigger show is obviously on the 18th.
That's the one I've been talking about it for I don't know how long, Steve. I've tried to interview pretty much every fighter on the card. That for me, I mean, there's so many people on it, and there's so many quality fights. Carl Wheeler. We're talking about Ozzy Jervier actually himself and Carl Wheeler. That fight they had the back end of last year was ridiculous. There was knockdowns it was insane.
But whenever Carl Wheeler fights, it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, Carl's just.
And then on that 18th card, he fights Wally Camacho for the Southern Area title.
Exactly. That is amazing. John O'Donnell, Eric Ochieng. What a fight that is.
For the English title. And you know what? The actual one that could top them all, Josh Kennedy, Michael Ramabalazza, that could actually be, I don't think people realise, Michael Ramabalazza is fought his life as a journeyman, fighting short notice against people like Paul Butler and people like Yafai. But he's a serious, serious talent. And this is the first time in his life he's ever had a proper training camp for a fight. And he's gone to Oliver Harrison. And Josh Kennedy is I think one of the biggest future stars in boxing. But this is not an easy fight. That could be an absolute barnstorm. I think those 3 fights are going to be absolutely amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, and they're just the big fights. Then you've got the prospects on there. Dan Keenan, Dino Richardson.
And Dino's off now because he's injured himself. He's on 13th of 13th of May. But you've got on the undercard there. You've got you've got you've got Adam Dingsdale. He's fighting. Who's on his way back. I hope to get him in his title shot in the next 6 months. Dingsdale's on there. It's a really, really good card. It's a really good card. Some of the prospects, seasoned campaigners on there. It's a really, really good. The 18th's a fantastic card. To be honest, the 11th's a good card, but it's just a bit overshadowed by the 18th because that's so good.
Definitely. You mentioned obviously Carl Willis fighting Woody Camacho for the 7-area title. That's because obviously he beat Ozzy Jervier in the semi-final of the Cup. When did this Cup come about? I mean, it's a great little tournament for us to watch. How did that come about? What was the idea behind that?
Well, we decided to the board that we would like, especially for if you've got fighters fighting on small hall shows who maybe struggle to sell tickets or want to, because it's hard for them to keep selling tickets. If you make a fight cup up, they all earn good money out of each fight, and the winner gets a cash prize and everything else, and gets a guaranteed shot in the southern area. So we asked the board for permission to stage fight cups, so you have to apply, and they've agreed to do that. So we can actually stage these at any weight category now. We've got permission to do that.
Oh, nice.
So we can now do these. So what we would then do is we'll do one, and when it finishes, we'll then look at another weight division, and then find 4 fighters that we think are appropriate for that, and then that's how it works. So that's basically how it works.
Yeah, it's a nice idea. So, like you say, it's a nice little tournament style that people can actually get involved in, and you can follow it and build up. Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, like I say, that fight. If the fights from last year's Cup are anything to go by, it's going to be nothing but excitement, is it?
Oh, you know it, don't you? You know for sure what you're going to get in these fights. I mean, like Jose Lopez Ozzy Jervier fight. Ozzy Jervier beat Jose Lopez as an amateur, so there's a bit of history between them. And Jose Lopez is the slick super boxer. Ozzy Jervier is a real tough, come forward fighter, and I think it will just gel to make a great fight. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
Yeah, definitely. Now, TV, we spoke about it. Me personally, I love a small hall show. And sometimes, TV deals can, in a way, they can, they're a great thing money-wise and stuff. But would you personally look for a big TV deal, or are you happy with the small hall shows and putting on small hall classics?
I think in the long term, we're all looking for TV deals, but it has to be the right TV deal. I mean, I remember about 2 years ago, we were spoken to about London Live, and we thought the deal was ridiculous. We thought it didn't have any longevity, it made no sense, there was no money for fighters in it, fighters would just lose ticket sales. So the next thing was Nicky Elliott did the deal, and made a big song and dance about it, and I think it lasted 2 shows or 1 show, and it just folded, and there was no money for boxers. Boxers couldn't sell tickets because everybody could watch it for free on the London Live platform. No, it was just the whole concept of it was nonsense. So if you get a TV deal, you either get it because for your ego as a promoter, or you get it because it's going to benefit your boxers. Now, if, for example, I could get a TV deal, and it meant that my boxers were then able to fight without all the pressure of selling tickets, that's obviously got to be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But a TV deal that doesn't do that is nonsense. It's just for a promoter's ego. So down the line, we'd love to have a TV deal, but then what we would probably look at doing is it would be, we'd have 2 points. We'd have some off-TV shows and some on-TV shows. And then you basically have your off-TV shows like you see at the moment, building the fighters up towards the TV platforms. And that's really our aim. So we will never not do the small hall, but we would like to have both things. Because at the moment, if you imagine, when our boxers need to get on TV, we have to go to other promoters to get that done. Whereas it'd be quite good if we had our own deal. We wouldn't have to go to anybody else, would we? We'd be able to do it ourselves.
Yeah. What's the long-term goals? I mean, you hated it for 6 months. After a year, you thought, you know what, I can make a difference. Where do you want to get to? What's the long-term vision for Goodwin Promotions?
Well, Goodwin Boxing's our brand, but the promotional, what we've got at the moment is we've got Goodwin Boxing is the brand, and then we then franchise Goodwin Boxing out to several different promotion companies. Michael Ballingal does it in Portsmouth, Jack Green's in Devon, Kevin does it, Olivia does it, Josh does it, I do it. So we're building the brand around the country now with other promoters. So we're doing that. The main aim is to become we think that becoming a very large management company of boxers is the best way forward, because and then by doing that, we can look after fighters' interests. That's got to be the plan. Then to have all the small hall shows running, possibly around various areas of the country, but then basically to have our own TV platform where we can filter the boxers onto the TV at the end, because that's what we need. We need the whole thing all the way through from start to finish. And the only thing we are now lacking is a TV platform. But it's not. It's easier said than done to go and get a proper TV platform. Channel 5, McGuigan's have got that gig. Richard Poxman's got the ITV. Obviously, Eddie's got Sky. Frank Warren's got the BT Box Nation deal. So unless there's another TV network that wants to put money into boxing, there's no other game player in town at the moment. So until there is, then we're not interested in this stuff where they. Because you can get a TV deal tomorrow. I don't know if you know that, where you can pay for production yourself. The TV company will do that. You then get the advertising to cover the production, and then you say you've got a TV deal, but you're still going back to your boxers then and saying, well, sell tickets. And if they're selling tickets when it's on TV, what's the benefit for them? Probably not a lot, other than their council ball. And so we don't want that. We don't want that model. We want the model where the TV company are paying us, so our boxers are getting paid.
Yeah. And just finally, to bring it to a close, Steve, I've got a couple of questions sent to me on Twitter for yourself. First of all, how important is it for boxers to know the value of digital marketing, social media and PR when starting out?
100%. I mean, there's some good PR companies out there now. The whole world is evolving to social media and digital marketing. It's just the way forward now. Posters put up in their local gyms, that's not the way anymore. It's all digital now. And there's some good PR companies that are out there that are helping. We do a hell of a lot to promote our boxers on social media, as you see, with all the fight videos and everything like that. But we encourage them, we tell them they've got to be active in social media. If a boxer's not active on social media and they're trying to build their profile up, I'm afraid it doesn't work. So it's 100% important, and they've got to understand how important it is nowadays.
Definitely. I mean, you just got to look at, for example, Dave Allen. He went from a couple of hundred followers fighting in Doncaster Dome to multiple thousands of followers fighting Dillian White and Ortiz. So, it goes to show.
Well, I mean, our whole boxing business was built on. Goodwin Boxing was built on social media. I remember when we just going off on a quick tangent, but I have a theory that perception becomes reality, and if you make yourself look bigger than you are, then that's what happens. And I was on social media really actively maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and that is what created the whole drive and the everybody coming towards us. And it was all done by social media. Everything I did with social media orientated. So it's nothing we haven't done, and we tell the boxers to do the same. If we create the perception that they are, it's not even a perception, but we create the perception that a boxer is successful. For example, say your call where we spent all that money on the staging, and they get videos of them coming down from the stage. They look like a TV fighter, right? So the perception, and they get all the images we do and all the stuff we do. It creates a perception that more people are going to follow them, or more people are going to buy tickets. And exactly what you see with Dave Allen, it just helps. And if they can be active on it, and they get all the media and everything else to help them, it's a way forward. And I think it's more important than ever. So yeah, 100%.
Definitely. And the last one from Twitter was, if you could sign one current fighter on any budget on the planet, who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why?
That's Martin Theobald's question, that is. That's why I stumped you.
Oh, that's mine? Okay, that's a tough one, that. Okay. Because I don't like... If I don't like somebody, I can't sign them. It sounds crazy. Wouldn't matter how much money they bought me. So I'm trying to think of somebody that I actually like. Probably have to be Anthony Joshua, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nothing too, because he's good with the media. He's got everything. He's got the whole package, and he doesn't come across like the Broners and the Mayweathers with this big alter ego attitude, does he? So whether it's cleverly marketed and that's the real him, but I think Anthony Joshua would be the one because he's got the world at his feet. So I guess it would be him if you had to have one. I can't think of anybody else more suitable, really.
Most definitely. Well, listen, we've taken up more than you've been more than generous with your time, Steve. I want to thank you for coming onto the Fight Talk podcast, and also for you've helped me. You let me come in and do your media day, which was a pleasure doing. And I've also now got a Toblerone, a Fight Talk Toblerone on your shows for the remainder of the year, which I'm very happy about.
Brilliant. Excellent. Excellent.
It's a pleasure, mate. I can't wait to get down to both your shows in the next 2 weeks.
Fantastic. James, Sam, thanks very much for having me on. It's very much appreciated.
We've had a substitution. Steve Goodwin and James Lupton out, and my Fight Talk brother Craig Scott has joined me. What's new?
Not much is new. I just went and had a Nando's, which I guess is new, but apart from that, everything's all good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Still, obviously, we did an in-depth post-fight for the madness of Haye Bellew last night. Just spoke to Steve Goodwin about it. He was there. He and I were sort of in agreement. We both had the same conclusion that David Haye was probably winning the fight up to the point of the injury, although he didn't look like David Haye anymore, which was a sad thing. But I
think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment, and I think Steve was obviously there. I think him and Kevin Campion were there as well, so I think they obviously had a better view of what was going on firsthand. It would have been interesting to see how it went if it went any longer. But listen, we done that to death last night. I don't want to make you upset again.
Yeah, I don't want. I've cried all my tears out, and so people can go and check that out on the channel. We went over a lot with Steve. The event itself, and obviously he's got some good shows coming up.
Great shows, yeah.
Yeah, he's got those 2 massive shows, York Hall, the next 2 Saturdays. So we went over some of that stuff. So yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff in the pipeline. He's a nice fella, Steve. I've got a lot of time for him, and he's very approachable,
Yeah, he seems like a top guy, and I think anybody I've spoke to who's had dealings with him as a manager or a promoter, nothing but positives to say. And the stuff he's doing, small hall scene in and around London is fantastic as well. And he's got a couple of big names that he manages, and they're full of praise for him as well. We had Don Charles on here, and he loves Steve Goodwin. He's got Buglioni and Chisora as well, so he's obviously doing the right things, and he seems to be building his business the way you would want. So yeah, great guy.
He also said he's got another big name that's signed with him management. A couple of weeks. I forgot to ask him off recording who it is. I'm going to text him in a minute and find out, because I'm interested to know who that is. But yeah, I think he's a guy that he's very much if he goes to bat for his fighters, you know what I mean. If he manages you, he's going to do the very best by you. I think so. Yeah, top bloke. Also, obviously, since the last time we were on the podcast, Dave Allen, he's fought twice, but we've had our website launch.
We have fighttalk.net, fighttalk.net. For anyone that never caught that, and fast forward.
What did you say? Fighttalk.net.
Fighttalk.net. I'll put subtitles on for anybody that doesn't understand. But yeah, we're live, man. We're live and in colour.
We are. We've got a lot of editing to do. It was a very rough copy that went live, and there's a few bits for us to iron out. Obviously, you, me, and Adam Noble Forsey were the 3 figureheads of the website. We've got a lot of good plans and a lot of things to get in motion with, starting it out. But we'll get there. We'll get where we want to get, I think.
Yeah, I think the big thing for anybody that's listening is that this is a platform. This is a platform that you can catch all formats of media on there. You can see we've got some interviews on there. We've got some written articles. I put a written article up, knowing when to quit, which is a big piece on boxers that fight on too long and the grasp that boxing can have on people mentally as well as physically. So we've got written pieces on there. We're going to have schedules on there. We'll have rankings on there. We'll have events on there. I don't know of a lot of people. You've obviously got your big media channels that do all your videos. This is a multiple media platform, and I think it's going to be good when we get it to where we want it to be. it's going to be fantastic. And if anybody wants to check stuff out or contribute stuff, which we've spoke about, definitely get at either myself, Sam, or Adam. If you do want to do any writing, even if you've never done any writing before, we've all been there. So yeah, if anybody wants to give it a go and throw stuff our way, be more than happy to see that and have a look at your pieces, definitely.
Most definitely. We're, the vision is to be a platform for all boxers, but particularly small hall boxers and guys coming up. So guys that are just starting out in media, basically like we are. We haven't been doing this very long, but we have a very clear vision of where we want to be. So yeah, we're more than happy to give people a helping hand if they'd like to get involved and get on the Fight Talk movement, because we're definitely coming, I'm telling you.
Again, big shout out to Steve Goodwin and Goodwin Promotions. They are always promoting our stuff, sharing our stuff, giving us props for interviews and stuff like that, and that's massive. That means a lot. I know it means a lot to you, and it means a lot to me as well, so big shout out to them for that.
Most definitely, good people. What else have we got coming up the next, we got 2 weeks, what's the date today? I've lost track of my days. The 5th.
The 5th.
So what's
the 5th of March.
We've got the 2 big Goodwin shows, the 11th and the 18th. Not that you're going to see next week, as you're going to be swanning it around Canada.
I will be in Toronto until the 18th. I'm back on the morning of the 18th. I'm going to go back, get a shower, and then hopefully meet you at the York Hall.
Beautiful.
I think big thing happening tomorrow, Monday morning. I believe we have a certain Javonta Davis
Tuesday,
arriving in
Tuesday, I think.
I think he gets here tomorrow.
Oh, does he?
I seen on his social media, he says, UK, I'm coming tomorrow, Monday.
Nice.
So he touches down Monday. Obviously, the rumours, or the near enough confirmed rumours, are Javonta Davis, Liam Walsh in the UK, is what I've read.
Massive.
And I think that's a great fight, because Davis has just established himself, so he's not too big to come here. He's not too big to take that fight. But I think, based on his performance against Pedraza, there's every inkling that he's going to be a massive, massive star. What do you make of that fight?
Javonta Davis, again, I can't sit here and say I know a lot about him. That performance kind of put him on the map over here, I'd say.
Yeah.
Very young man. He's promoted by Floyd. The Mayweather Promotions, and they're backing him and they think very highly of him. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see. And I think it's nice that a big star, I say big star, we don't know, he may be a massive star in the future. At the moment he's I don't know what you'd class him as, a rising star, I guess.
I think he's probably the most promising fighter that's recently won a title.
Yeah, that's fair. And
he's currently the youngest world title holder as well.
He is, yeah.
In boxing, yeah.
And he's coming over and he's going to be fighting on Frank Warren's shows, BT Sport. So, it's not all going Eddie Hearn's way. Eddie Hearn obviously has a big controlling factor in most of Britain, but there's still people coming over here to fight on other promoters and platforms. So again, we've touched on this a lot in the past. I don't want to go over it again, but that can only be good for boxing, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a name like Davis coming over here with Floyd is going to be fantastic. And I think the fact that it's going to be, hopefully, this is all rumour until it's confirmed, hopefully it'll be on BT Sports and Box Nation's cross promotion or cross partnership, whatever you want to call it. Is going to be great. So I don't know when that fight will be.
Yeah, I was thinking this. I was looking at the schedule when the fight card they've got booked. Do you know what I mean? Where would it fit in? I
think that would be a card on its own, right?
I'd imagine so. Which would,
with a name that big, you would think so.
Then it would have to be June or after, because they've announced all their big shows up into the middle of May. Middle of May is Warrington and Leeds with Nicola Adams and stuff. London, May 6th, the Copper Box. Maybe there, but I think you're right. I think they'll go June. Probably. Where's Walsh? Where's Walsh from?
Good question.
Norwich.
Liverpool.
Norwich.
Liverpool? Fuck yeah, no, it's Norwich. It's Norwich.
Yeah, he's Norwich, isn't he?
Him and his brother, Norwich fans.
Yeah, that's it. So, not a massive arena there. It'll probably be a London card. Well, I don't know. We'll find out on Tuesday, won't we?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it's a hard fight. Definitely a hard fight. But, be interested to see. Well, Davis was found by Barona, apparently.
Was he?
Yeah, he was found by Barona. Found by Barona, taken to a couple of different gyms, and then signed management-wise by Mayweather.
Oh,
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's.
Do you know who found Badu Jack?
Who?
Shannon Briggs.
Did he really?
Yeah, Shannon Briggs kind of unearthed Badu Jack and got him in touch with the right people and set him on his way to world titles, yeah.
So why doesn't he say, let's go champ?
I don't know. Why do we say it? It's probably the better question.
Catchy, innit? It's fucking catchy.
I say that shit all the time, man. Even the customers, like old customers now, I'm like, alright, let's go champ. They just want to take a check out. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Let's go champ. Try to fist bump people.
When's his fight? He's going to be fighting against Frezequendo, isn't he?
Who, Briggs?
Yeah.
Bit of a shambles, I think. Oh, you see, Aquendo's not fought in over 2 years.
And he got mandated to fight for the... Is it a WBA regular they're fighting for?
Yeah, it's the regular. It's a paper title, isn't it? It's a paper title, really.
Well, it's become that, unfortunately, since they made the super title.
The thing is, like, Briggs he'll fucking fight anybody. He wants a fight. You watch him, so he's like, give me a fight, I'm ready, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they just can't put pen to paper, so you can't really have any negativity towards him. He seems ready to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a fucking random fight anyway, Aquendo and Briggs. But yeah, Davis coming over Monday, press conference Tuesday, probably fighting Liam Walsh for the IBF, which will be an interesting fight, man.
Yep, that's about it going on this week that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will just be building up to the small hall shows for the next couple of weeks. Also, obviously, we've got the following Friday, the 17th. There's the 2 shows on the one night, isn't there? The York Hall has the Matchroom show. With
Next Gen.
The Next Gen with the Starlets, Isaac Chamberlain, Spider Richards, Reece Bellotti, Ben Hall.
Yep.
And then the MTK show that I'll be at in Brentwood, the new leg of what was MGM. Good boys on that. Mikey Saki, Colin Lyons is back.
Taylor Jones.
Tay, of course. Tay's in a good fight.
Yep.
Yeah, really good shows in that. I'll be at that one on the Friday night, and then Bethnal Bedlam on the Saturday.
Yep.
So a lot of really good shows to look forward to until the next podcast. And yeah, we're just going to keep plodding along. Hopefully people check out the website.
FightTalk.net. I feel like if I say it in an aggressive Glaswegian accent, people might go on it. Do you think there's more chance, or do you think I'm going to put them off it?
Well, you're scaring me a little.
Because I can do different accents if you want, but we'll stick with the Glaswegian just now. Yeah, FightTalk.net. You'll see loads of different stuff going on there. You'll see it evolving, you'll see it improving, but you'll never see it die. You'll never see it die.
Damn right, no better way to sign off. This has been the Fight Talk Podcast.